everyone, it's Di here from Diane. How are you doing this week? This week we're going to be making this card. It's called a impossible card, and I have done two different versions, one with the wide edge on this right hand side and one with the wide edge on the left hand side. Now I prefer the wide edge on the left hand side, so we are going to be making ours in this style. So these are my two cards. If you're doing a white base like we're going to be doing this time, you can always write your message on the bottom. You can actually stamp on the bottom here and write on the bottom, or you can actually do another panel on the back here and do your writing on the back of it. So let's pop them out of the way and I will show you what you need. And it's actually really not a real lot. Let's pop that piece of there. Okie doke. So this is all we're going to need except for a piece of scrap. So this is our main card, and this measures 6 inches by 4 inches. You're going to need a layer which measures 3 3/4 by 4 inches, and another layer, your DSP layer, that measures 3.5 by 3.5. For your strap across the front, you're going to need a piece that measures 5 3/4 by 1 inch, and a piece of DSP that measures 5 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch, 5.5 by 3/4 of an inch, sorry. For your topper piece, you're going to need a piece of card that measures 2 3/4 by 1 3/4, and another piece that measures 2.5 by 1.5. And I do have a little bit more of this card, DSP, that I'm going to stamp on this side, and we're going to use this side off for our dragonflies. So we're going to be using the Dragonfly Garden bundle, which is in the current catalogue. The designer series paper is now retired, but I still had some left, so I'm going to be using it. So we're going to be using this bunch of butterflies here, and you are an inspiration. So that's all we're going to be using. So let me bring in my scoreboard, and we will score our main piece of card. Our main piece of card, we're going to score on the short side first. So on the 4-inch side across the top, oops, you can't see that, sorry. 4-inch piece across the top. We're going to score this at the 2-inch mark. We're now going to turn it so that the 6-inch piece line is across the top, and we're going to score this at the 3-inch mark, just down to that middle score line there, and not past it. Then we're going to turn it 180 degrees, and we're going to score this at 1.5 inches down to that score line again, and 4.5 inches down to that score line again. So that is all the scoring we're going to be doing. This is actually quite an easy card. It's a little bit daunting when we get to the cutting of the layers, but it actually is very, very easy. So I'm just turning over my pages so I can see where I'm going. Oops. So with our main piece of card here, I like to use my larger scissors for cutting, only because I find that it's actually easier to cut in one foul sweep, as they say, or one big cut. So we're going to cut from this score line here up to, but not past, that middle score line going the opposite direction. And we're going to do that on all 3 of those score lines. Those 2 on that side and the one on the opposite side. I can't see what I'm doing, the light's pretty bad in here at the moment. Okay, so that's our card done. So we're going to turn it around now so that we have our 3 pieces at the bottom and our 2 larger pieces at the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our left hand onto this section here, and we're going to fold it down and under, so that when it's sitting on the table, we can fold this middle section down and then fold it back the other way. And that will give us our 2 sections, with our right piece being the smaller section. So we'll pop that out of the way for now, and we're going to do our cutting, which is where I get in a real muddle of late. I feel like I'm a little bit double Dutch today. Okay, so I'm going to put my scoreboard on this angle, only because it's easier for me to see. So with our 4-inch piece of card, 4-inch by 3 3/4, we want our 4-inch line across the top. So we're going to make sure that that's it. We are. And we're going to put this in so that it is at the 1.5 inch, or sorry, 1 1/4 inch on the right hand side. Once we're happy with that in there, like so, we're going to move our scorer tool out of the way, and we're going to push our cutting blade right up to the top, and we're going to cut this down to the 2-inch mark, but not past it. So now once we've done that, we're going to turn this 180 degrees so that this cut line now is at the bottom, and we've still got our 4-inch line at the top, and we're going to line it up at our 1 1/4 inches again, and we're going to make sure it's on in there properly. We're going to push our blade back up to the top and cut down to the 2-inch mark once again, and stop and pull it up. Once we've done that, we've got 2 legs opposite each other. So now we're going to turn it so that our 3 3/4 inch mark side is at the top, and we're going to pop this in here at the 2-inch mark here on the left hand side, and we're going to put our cutting blade at the 1 1/4 inch mark. So we're going to bring our cutting blade down to the 1 1/4 inch mark, and we're going to cut down from there to the 2 3/4 inch mark. Once we've done that, we can then pull this apart, and you will see that we have, this is just tiny little bit holding on, we have 2 pieces like so. So we're going to, the top piece is the correct one. The bottom one, if you have a look, is actually a little bit wider in this piece here. So we're going to pop that one on that side, and we're going to turn this around so that this narrower edge is at the top and the 3 1/2 inches is the top. And we're going to pop this back in here at the 2-inch mark, and we're going to bring our blade back up to the 1 1/4 inch mark, and we're going to then cut from there down to the bottom. Once we've done that, we've got this tiny little piece here that is our bit of scrap, and that's our 2 pieces that now go onto, excuse my dog out there, she's barking her head off, onto these pieces here like so. So I'll pop those over there, and we'll pop that over there. So we're now going to be working on our 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 inch piece. With a 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, this is actually a directional pattern, so I've actually drawn an arrow on the back so that I know that that has to be the top, which means that that has to be where my first cuts go. I want this pattern showing, so I'm actually going to turn it over so that the pattern I don't want is on the top, it's facing up. And I'm going to pop this in here at the 1-inch mark on the left hand side here now. And I'm going to bring my blade up here, and I'm going to, once again, I'm going to cut, let me just double check that, down to the 2-inch mark. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to turn it 180 degrees, pull my blade back up, put it back in here at the 1-inch mark on this side, and once again I'm going to cut down to the 2-inch mark. Now I'm going to turn it the opposite way. Now, because this is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, I've only got that arrow there to prove that that's the other part. We're going to pop this back in here at 2 inches, and we're going to pop our blade at the 1-inch mark, and we're going to cut down to the 2 1/2 inch mark. Once you've done that, you will have one piece like so. We're going to do exactly the same as we did before. We're going to turn this around so that the narrow bit is at the top, and we're going to pop it in at the 2-inch mark once again, and we're going to put our blade at the 1-inch mark, and then we're going to cut down to the bottom. This is our piece of scrap this time, and our 2 pieces of card are like so. and they will fit on top of these and be the correct way around. Okay, so let's move my cutting board out of the way and we'll bring back in our card base. So I'm going to then glue these pieces onto these two pieces like so. So let's do that. And as you can see, the right side for me, which was the purple side, is now facing up. So, and my pattern is the correct way around. For the full instructions for this card, you can head over to Diane for stamping, crafting and tutorials on my Facebook group. There you will find the written tutorial for this card, and which I have to say thank you to Francis McFall for helping me. When I was writing my tutorial for this card, I was getting in a little bit of a muddle with turning my card this way and that way and whatever. So I asked her if she could help me with that, and she made the card up and helped me change the wording so that it was actually easier to understand. You will find the link for that card down the bottom here at the end of the tutorial. So now I have my two pieces on there like so. Oops, that was a little bit wonky. Get off. Don't be wonky. That's better. Oh, well, maybe. There we go. That's a bit better. No, it's not. It's not even going to sit down now. Come on. Pop a bit more glue on the back of this one. There we go. That's a bit better. Okay, so now I need to turn it around that way so that my pattern is the correct way around. So, well, I'm going to pop my strap across the front. Putting that strap across the front will stop this wobble in the card. So this is my strap piece, which is 5 3/4 by 1 inch and 5 1/2 by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to pop them together. And I'm going to turn that over and pop this onto the card upside down at this present time. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I can then see how far to put my glue. So I'm holding this on here and I'm just going to put my glue in this section here and the same on this side here. By doing that, I make sure that I don't put the glue in the middle here where it's going to be open. Popping that over the top of my card and bringing it over the top of that one like so. And that's given the stability there, even if this is a bit of a bendy one at the moment. There we go, that's better. Stability there so it doesn't bend. If you wanted to, you could put another bar on the back, but you don't have to. So this is our main card done now. So let's bring in our two panels that go on the top here, and we're going to stamp this piece with my, I've got rich raspberry here, which is really hard to open. And I'm going to stamp "You Are an Inspiration." And then I'm going to get a piece of scrap out of my bin here, which is very bright. And I'm just going to pop that on there so that I can now put my other butterflies, or actually dragonflies in this case, over the other side there, like so. Pop that back in the bin, pop the lid back on those, and that is not looking very nice at all. It looks a bit, it looks like it's all gone a bit let's start again. Shall we do it on the other side? I don't want it to be looking yucky. So let's have a look at this. Oh, it's got some yucky bits on it. Let's get a piece of card from out of the bin here and just wipe over my stamp. It looks like it's got pieces of horrible stuff on it. That looks a bit better. Let's find a piece of scrap to just check it. That looks a bit better. So let's pop this on here again. And go, you are an inspiration. That looks better. Nice and clean and tidy now. And bring that over and stamp our butterflies. Oh, I keep saying butterflies. Dragonflies on that side there. Well, we'll let that dry a little bit because the rich raspberry seems to be a bit on the wet side. Oops, let's pop my lid back in that glue for a minute. We don't want it drying out. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my memento and a dragonfly here, and I'm going to stamp my dragonfly onto this piece of card here, or designer series paper. I'm going to actually stamp another one so that I have two. And I can pop the lid on that and I'll bring in my punch and punch them out. See if I can get that in there. I should have cut that off after I'd punched it out. And I might punch a couple of these little ones out on here, on this piece. That can actually help me sit on the card. There we go. So we have throw that in the rubbish. This is now dry, so we can now turn that over, and you can see how yucky that was on that side. And we're going to glue this onto our layer. And then glue our layer onto the card. There we go. And I'm just going to nip that up there a tiny bit more. It looks like it's just, that's better. Just a little bit not in the right spot. Going to pop our dragonflies onto our card, along with our little baby ones, with some dimensions, if I've got any here. Yes, I've got a little bit of them here, so let's pop these onto here. Oops. I'll pop one just here and one over here. And then I will have to cut these down a bit into smaller bits. That's it. And so I haven't got my minis over here. They're over the other part of the room. And I can pop one up here. And one down here. And then the other one I will probably pop in the centre here. There we go. I think that's just beautiful. I haven't got any gems over here, so I can't put any other embellishments on it at this stage. But that's our card for today. It will fit into a regular envelope. So I hope you've enjoyed today's project, and I hope you will have a go. Don't forget, if you would like the tutorial for this card, you will find it in the link for it down the bottom under more, I think it is, down the bottom. Anyway, it will give you the links to all of my Facebook, my blog, my Pinterest, the whole lot. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you'll give it a go, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.